What do you like about Cam Ward?
About Cam Ward, okay, first and foremost, well, he's got swagger, doesn't he?
Yep.
He's that leader with swagger that you want on a football field. He really is a field general, and I think we were lucky enough to go watch him on the field at Louisville in that shootout game this year, and even through all the adversity that he's been through in his career, and I think that's where it starts is, being a wing T quarterback in high school, and I coached in that system, and wing T coaches, if they get their choice, they would rather not throw the ball a single time throughout the whole game. So it's an offense that actively tries not to throw the ball. Goes down to Incarnate Word is fantastic. Goes to Washington State, shows flashes, right? And I think, what you get from Cam Ward is a bit more of a gunslinger than Shedeur Sanders, right? I think there's times where I watch him and I see there's a little bit of Caleb Williams in there too, where, good and bad, where the improvised stuff can be fantastic. We saw that all this season, and we've seen that throughout his career. Where you question him a bit is you go, okay, as his career has gone on, and especially this year down at Miami, gotten pretty casual back there in the pocket, right? And you could see, if you go back even to the Incarnate Word tape, because hell yeah, we have that, he did a little bit better job with his footwork being a little tighter and throwing in rhythm. I think as he's really started to feel himself a little more at Miami, he's felt like, okay, I'm in control here, which is part of the fun, right? It's like you have a guy who's in total control and knows it. And he did rein it in a little bit this year. I will say, though, if you look at his turnover-worthy play rate this year against Power 5 teams, I think it's identical to what it was last year at Washington State. So there are times late in plays where he does make you a little nervous, right? He's loose with the football, a lot of fumbles. I think it's something like 40-something fumbles in his career, right? I think about plays like the throw all the way back across the field against Cal that was just inexplicable, right? But you talk about a guy who's unafraid to make throws from the pocket in tight spaces and down the field, there's almost nobody better, right? I mean, you talk about he's at least comparable with the top guys. He's maybe the top guy when it comes to slinging it downfield early in the count. Now we start talking about a guy who can do things when he's in rhythm under 2.5 seconds. He wants to let it rip vertically. I think that's what it is. He's a vertical passer who can move. And if you want that sort of thing, if you want to really open up your offense down the field with a guy like this and tighten up the footwork a little bit on the quick throws, because he's not the most accurate passer. Shedeur is more consistently accurate than him because Cam can be loose with his mechanics now sometimes, but unbelievable downfield passer. And there's some tight window throws on tape where you're just like, that's
stupid.
That's not normal. Yeah, there's guys who can't make that level of velocity and touch combined. Not much of that did you see in this draft.
And I think, and listen, the top two is pretty clear for both of us. And I think pretty clear for almost everyone is Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. I think we can both agree that even though we have Sanders QB1, Cam Ward does have a higher ceiling than Shedeur Sanders.
I would say, like, physically, when you think about the arm talent and the ability to move, not that Shedeur can't improvise some, but Cam, it comes more natural to him, right? I think the physical talent leans towards Cam a little bit, and even like when you look at on a board, if people have Cam Ward 1, I don't complain. I get it.
No, I totally get it as well. Yeah, I totally get it. If Tennessee takes him number 1 overall, I get it as well. He was the best quarterback in college football this past year. 92.6 PFF graded the best in the country. Most valuable player in the nation according to PFF's wins above average metric. 31 big time throws, second in the country. He's got the arm to make it from make any throw from any angle. Became much more efficient than ever before. He was actually top 20 in the nation in adjusted completion rate this year, which is your completion percentage plus any drops your receivers have. Despite having an average at the target of nearly 10 yards, he was pushing the ball downfield and was still very, very accurate this year as well. And you mentioned his demeanor. So cool, so calm, so collected. Plays a very nonchalant play style. He led multiple double-digit comebacks for Miami this year. He had a 25-point comeback against Cal and a 10-point comeback with under 9 minutes left against Virginia Tech. Just even when it looks like Miami's got no chance, I mean, he's got ice in his veins, man. And that play style, which has been an issue for him at sometimes, there's a lot more good than bad with Cam Ward with that nonchalant play style. But the bad with it is that he's very nonchalant in the pocket. That's led to a pretty high pressure to sack rate over the last 2 years, a 21% pressure to sack rate over the last couple of seasons. And you mentioned it before, he's still a little bit of a gunslinger, right? 64th in the country with a 3.3% turnover-worthy play rate and 39 turnover-worthy plays over the last 2 years, tied for the most in the Power Four. He has a bit of a fumbling problem in his career, kind of cleaned it up a little bit here in Miami, but it was a big issue at Washington State. He made a ton of money because last year he actually declared for the 2024 NFL draft and then pulled out of it at the last second and decided to transfer over to Miami. And he went from a guy who's going to be a day 3 pick in the NFL draft to one that's probably not going to make it out of the top 5 of this year's draft. There's still a bit of overconfidence that I think is in his game right now that gets him into trouble between, holding onto the ball for a little bit in the pocket, between, making throws he just should not be making and leads to turnover play because of it. But there are serious tools to work with, and he showed dramatic improvement at Miami this past year. And I think my comparison for him, Dalton, is Jordan Love. I see a lot of Jordan Love in his game where, there are unbelievable throws on his tape, but still a little bit of overconfidence in his arm. And sometimes I think he reminded me a lot of Jordan Love when I was watching Cam Ward.
I think even, and Matt LaFleur has even talked about Jordan Love's footwork this offseason. It's the feeling that you just wish the fundamentals were more consistent. Because when that guy's fundamentals are consistent, there's no stopping him. That's what we saw. That's what we really saw from Jordan Love in the second half of 2023 was, okay, the footwork's clicking, the timing is clicking, all the fundamentals are right, and in that stretch, he was the highest graded quarterback in football. Cam Ward has that same element where I think there can be a hot and cold element, and I think the number that stands out to me the most, now he's going to get drafted that high because of what he did this year at Miami, right? For his career in college, 102 big-time throws, 97 turnover-worthy plays.
Yep.
This is what you're going to get a gunslinger. Even this year, 18 turnover-worthy plays, only turned into 7 interceptions, right? And I know we've mentioned before he's fumbled a lot in his career. It's going to be that. How do you match? It's really this. Jordan Love's a great mention, too. And I think Caleb, this even, again, times in his game where I'm like, there's a little bit of Caleb in there. But how do you balance the bravery with the recklessness, right? Because the bravery is something that makes him what he is, the ability to make any play, right? The swagger to lead his team and be down, whatever you mentioned against Cal, was it 25 points against Cal, the biggest comeback in school history, I believe it was. You go to have that swagger and that level of leadership and confidence is a huge part of his game you don't want to take away, but turnovers in the NFL kill you.
Yeah.
Even in this past Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes with the 2 big interceptions, that's when the game really turned, was those 2 plays. You can't be that loose with the football. And even this year, there were moments where it was like, Cam, come on now. We know you know what you're doing out here, but still, and there was a few he got away with. But no, he was fantastic all this season. I mean, he has all the talent in the world. I think that is a great call on Jordan Love. For me, it's the casual attitude at times. Even we saw it in the very first game against Florida, right? Remember getting over towards the sideline and just walking out of bounds? I'm like, okay, you're believing. Okay, I get it. And listen, he went out and had a great season fitting of that, but it's things like that in the NFL where I would like to see him get back to, okay, the fundamentals and the things in between. Because the ball placement is more solid than elite, for sure. I mean, and there are times where the accuracy, some of the big-time throws are off the charts, but again, consistently making the easy throws. Who can do that? Look at all the greatest guys in the league right now. Allen's gotten way better at it. Burrow's the master of it. Mahomes is a master of it. Consistently making the easy throws is what allows you to make those great throws later on.
And I know we're sometimes criticizing some of the arrogance that he has in his game, but at the same time,
it's a part of it.
To be a great quarterback, you need to be a little arrogant. Yeah. Right? You need to be like, hey, I'm the guy here. I'm the number one guy, and he's proven that at Miami. So I do love that part of his game, but like I said, it is a little bit of a double-edged sword when you play with a lot of, as a great way to put it, bravery and recklessness. There is a lot of that.
And there were moments I will cut him some slack because he's never played with a good defense.
No,
not at Wazoo.
So it's like Caleb thing too. It's like I need to score 50.
He has to carry it, and at no point, despite what we're talking about, at no point did Miami fail this year because of Cam Ward. The Georgia Tech loss, he completed, 64% with 3 touchdowns. The Syracuse loss, he threw 2 touchdowns. He was spectacular in that game, a 92.4 passing grade. They lost because of their defense.
Yep.
That's the only shame of it is I really, really wish we would have got to see him in the playoff for as much as it was a great win for Kyle McCord and Syracuse. But that would have been fun to watch him play, say, somebody like a Texas or Ohio State or a team like that, just to see at what level he could get to against a team like that.
So we are going against consensus. We have Cam Ward at number 2 on our list. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.